Hello and welcome to the Kpi Institute's webinar, Business Intelligence Software and its Features, a hands-on demonstration. My name is Andrei Costea and I will be a host for today along with our presenter Adrian Șuteu. This webinar is part of a series of free educational materials that aim to enhance the knowledge and know-how of those interested, while also creating a bridge between us as a company and you, our public. The Kpi Institute is a research organization specialized in business performance. It operates research programs in 12 practice domains, each linked to a certification course, ranging from strategy and KPIs to employee performance and from customer service to innovation performance. The Kpi Institute continuously builds on its values of best know-how, data and facts, and common sense to achieve its mission of integrating performance as a discipline through research, publications, and, what interests us today, through educational programs such as this webinar. Today, after 13 years since the Kpi Institute was created, we can proudly say that our products have reached professionals in 5 continents, and that our public comprises a worldwide community of 73,000 members online and 28,000 registered companies on smartkpis.com. Today's webinar will offer you the opportunity to learn how easily it is to use a quality business intelligence software and how to leverage its potential, and it will be delivered by Adrian Șuteu, the Software Integration Manager at Kpi Solutions. He is focused on helping organizations identify and implement efficient software solutions, automate processes, get a clear and transparent view over their data, and improve collaboration. In general, he helps them achieve true performance by leveraging technology appropriately. This presentation lasts between 30 to 45 minutes. Please feel free to ask any questions you might have during the presentation, as they will be answered at the end in our Q&A session. Enjoy the Kpi Institute's webinar, Business Intelligence Software and its Features, a hands-on demonstration. Now I would like to invite Adrian to begin his presentation.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. As my colleague said, today we're going to take a look at the business intelligence software, and more specifically, we're going to take a look at Power BI, and we are going to show you exactly how it works. The agenda of today's webinar starts with a little introduction about the business intelligence software and its role within organizations. Then we will take a look at Power BI and at the way it gets the data from a variety of sources. We will also take a look at the syntax used in Power BI and formulas, more specifically the DAX, and then the methods that are used for visualizing data in Power BI. And at the end, we will show you how to share information through Power BI online. By taking part at this webinar, you will understand the basic elements of the user interface and the tools that Power BI offers. You will learn how to combine data from various sources in a single report. You will also see some of the basic functions that are used to create additional indicators in Power BI. And you will see how easily it is to use drag and drop features to build or modify data visualizations and reports. The role of the business intelligence software is to leverage technology in order to analyze data and generate relevant and actionable information. It is a complex process, and the resulted information is used by the decision makers to improve this decision-making process, and very important to make fact-based decisions. In this whole process of business intelligence, the technology plays an important role. This element, the technology, ensures performance, scalability, and flexibility for the source information, for the data analysis and visualization methods, and also for the resulted indicators. Power BI has the capability to get information for a high variety of sources, data sources, and we are talking here about files, Excel, CSV, Access databases, as well as web resources, web services, software as a service like Microsoft Dynamics 365, Salesforce, MailChimp, and so on, and also all the major SQL database types. Some of these type of sources require some additional installations. Basically, you have to install some additional components on the source in order to allow Power BI to connect to them. And also the auto refresh option, which is used to make sure that you always get fresh information if in case it is extracted from local files, will require the Power BI gateway, which is a small tool that can be very easily installed in a matter of minutes. I would like to show you in the next minutes how exactly you are supposed to load data into Power BI. When you open Power BI, you will get this blank window, this blank canvas, which is supposed to be your workplace. I have already loaded one table, the calendar table, and I will go ahead now and load some information in order to show you exactly how it works. In order to get data into Power BI, you have to go on the Home tab and you have this Get Data option here. When you click on Get Data, you will see that you have a list of a few sources. In case you do not see your desired source in this list, you can click on More and you will get the list with all the available sources for data. For today's presentation, I will get data from an Excel file. I click on Excel, I locate this file, which is called sales sample. And this particular file has several worksheets. It has 4 different worksheets. I can click on any of those worksheets and I can see exactly which columns and what information it contains. And I can also select one or multiple or even all of them to be loaded. Now, in today's example, the data source, although it is in Excel, simulates a relational database. So it could as well be in an SQL environment and have a similar structure. Of course, this is a simplified scenario in which we are going to use only 4 tables. I want to load all the tables in this case, so I have checked all of them and I will click on load. As soon as I click on load, after the tables are loaded, you will see that the tables will be placed in the right panel. Here you can see all the tables that you have loaded and you can expand any of them to see the columns it contains. As I have said, we are simulating a relational database, and usually when you're working in Power BI and when you have more than one table that is supposed to be related with another table in a way or another, you are required to use this relational database model. And one of the very first steps that you will have to do after you load all the data that you want to load is to create relationships between tables. In order to create relationships between tables, you have this button, the relationships button. When you click on this button, although we have some fresh data here and although we haven't created any relationship, you will see that Power BI will create a relationship wherever it sees that 2 tables have columns with the same name, with the same header. So as you can see, it already created a relationship between the ID of the product line and the ID of the actual product, and the same thing happened with the ID of the products and the ID of the product type. This is not what we want. This is not a correct relationship. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete those automatically created relationships right now in order to create the relationships that are supposed to be created here. So I just click on the line that connects to tables and I hit delete from my keyboard, and then I click on delete. I can also right click on the line and click on the delete button. Now I do not have the relationships anymore, which is what I wanted to do, and I will build the relationships as they are supposed to be built. So basically in this scenario, we have certain product types, we also have certain product lines, and of course we do have the products, and another table contains the sales for those products. And I will go ahead and create a relationship between the product line ID and the actual ID of the product line. As you can see, Power BI identified already that it is a many-to-one relationship in this case. And I will also create a relationship between the product type ID from the products table and the ID of the table product types. So what's happening here, or what this represents, is the fact that each product line that we have here contains multiple product types, and each product type contains multiple products. And of course, each record in the sale table contains a certain product. So I will also create a relationship between the product ID that is getting sold in this scenario and the ID within the products table. If I go back on my canvas, I can now drag the main columns of this, let's say, first three tables, and I can see the product lines. Each product line contains multiple product types, and each product type contains multiple products. These are tables. The type of visualizations are here on the right, but in this case, I want to make them filters. I want the user to be able to filter the visuals later based on this information. So I just click on this type of visual, which is a table right now, and I select the slicer. This will transform it into a filter, and I will do the same for the other two tables. Now I have the slicer. As I have said, these are supposed to filter the graphs and the tables or any other information that I will include in this report, and you will see how that works in the following minutes. But before doing that, I wanted to show you the fact that when you create a slicer, a brand new slicer, you usually get a single selection. And I do not want to have the option to select only one type of product line, for example. So I select the visual one more, I click on this format button, and here I have this section called selection controls. I have the option for a single select. I switch it to off. This will allow me to select multiple options. And I also have an option for select all, which I will put to on. This will add the select all option for my table. And I will do the same thing for the other two slicers. So now I can select multiple items. And let me just create a quick graph for you that will show the quantity that is sold. And as you can see, if I just drag the quantity column into my canvas, I already get the graph. I can, of course, choose any other type of graph that I want to choose, but in this case, I will let it as a bar chart. And I want to see the quantity per product. So I just drag this product column into the axis. And now I can see the quantity sold per product. And you will see that if I select just one product type or multiple product types, the graph adapts in real time so that I can see only the relevant information, only the information that I want to see. And another thing that you will notice is the fact that if I select a certain product line, the other two tables will adapt to show me only the product types that are part of that product line. And if I select multiple product lines, again, the other tables will only show me the relevant information. But you will notice that if I go the other way around and I select a product, for example, or I select a few product types, I do not get this, the first table filtered, sorry. So the filtering works only in one way. The filtering works only in the way that is shown by this arrow. And this is not something that I want in this case. So I will double click on the relationship, and in order to make sure that when I select the product type, the product lines table is also filtered, or the slicer in this case, I have this cross filter direction, and I will put it to both. You will see that you will get a different icon that contains two arrows in both ways, and I will do the same for the other relationships. This is very important, and it can really help users a lot, because whenever they select something in a table, they will only get relevant information in the other slicers. So as you can see now, when I select the product type, I also get the product line filtered accordingly. And also if I select some products, I also get the two other tables filtered. As I have said, I had previously included this calendar table, which basically is a table that will help me to filter the data based on quarter, on month, on year, and so on. And let me show you exactly what I mean. If you click on this data button, you will see the actual data source, the actual tables as you would see them in an Excel, for example. So if I click on this calendar table, I can see that for every date from 1900 until 2500, I have the year, I also have the month name, I have the quarter, and so on. So if I want, for example, to add another slicer that will filter my information based on the month, I can just click on slicer, and I can select the month in calendar column, which will give me the opportunity to filter the information based on a certain month and not on a certain date, which would happen if, for example, I would choose the order date from the products table. So now that I have this month in calendar, I also need a relationship, because the filtering will work based on that relationship. And I have this date key, which is the actual date, and I also have the order date on the sales table. I create this relationship. Once more, I make sure that I have both filtering directions, so that when I select the product line, for example, you will see that this month in calendar slicer will only show me the months in which the camping equipment was sold. So I don't get confused by the data and so on. And if I select a single product, again, I will only see the month in which the product was sold. But if I select a certain month in the month table, I also get the other tables filtered. This is very important. It will help you add as many slicers or filters as you want and keep your data clean. Again, I will go to the format of this new slicer and I will make sure that I have the select all option and that I am not required to select a single option. So now that I have some slicers in place, let me just resize them. Resizing them is very easy. You can leverage the whole canvas. You can also choose to add backgrounds, different colors from header. You can also increase the text size and so on. So you have a lot of formatting options that will come really handy for you. And I will just move those slicers a little bit so that we get a little bit of extra space. Okay, so this is how you load the data into Power BI. It is very easy. You just pick the data source, you select the file, or in case you select Salesforce, for example, you will have to provide your credentials, and then you create the relationships between tables, and you can go ahead, add the required slicers or filters, and also you can create visuals that will adapt very easily by leveraging those slicers. I will go back to my presentation, and we will take a look at the basics of DAX. DAX is the syntax that is used in Power BI. In many cases, the functions that are used in Power BI are similar. They are in some cases identical to the ones that are used in Microsoft Excel, so it will not be too much trouble learning them. Of course, there are also some specific syntaxes that are different from what you get in Excel. There are over 2,000 functions that can be used in Power BI in order to combine data together and generate new information, new indicators. And also, it is very important that Power BI provides an online DAX function reference that contains every available function and examples for those functions. So if you will click on that link, and if you will get to the DAX function reference, you will see that you have here the categories for the DAX functions. And if, for example, I want to see the if function in Power BI, I will choose the logical function, and I can see that I have here the if function. So this is how the if function looks like. As you can see, you get the syntax. You also get information about the parameters, so you know what kind of information is supposed to go in each parameter, and you get an example or multiple examples, as it is the case here, where you can see exactly how a certain function works and what you will get from using it. I will go back to my report, and I will show you how you can leverage a very interesting combination of functions in order to get new data. So in this case, I have the quantity by product. So I can see how much quantity was sold from a certain product in the selected context. But I would like to also see how much money I'm getting from that quantity sold. And if you'll take a look at this sales table, let me just show it in the data view so that you can see better. You will see that you do have the quantity. You also have an ID for every product that is sold, but you do not have the price anywhere. So what we would like to do is to include the price and then to calculate quantity times price in order to see the actual revenue. Of course, we do need to have the price somewhere, and we have it on the products table. Here, for each product, there is an associated price. So in this case, the price is supposed to be represented in US dollars. As you can see right now, it is just a simple number, and I will click on this price column. I will go to modeling, and here I have the data type. It is a whole number, but at the format, you have several options, and you also have the option to format this column as a currency. So I click on format currency and I pick US dollars. You can also add or remove decimals if it is the case. In this case, we do not have decimals in the prices, so I will let it with 0 decimal places. As I have said, I need a new indicator that will show me the actual revenue. This actual revenue will be represented by quantity times price. So what can be done here, there are two options. One option is to create a new column in the sales table that will represent this indicator, or if you want to skip that step, you can also create a new measure, and creating a new measure can prove to be more efficient in many cases. What is the difference? If the column means that you have another piece of information on every row, sorry, the measure means that you will get the total at the very bottom of this particular table. So what I will do in this case, I will create a measure, and the very first thing that you need to decide when you create a new DAX indicator is to choose a name. So I will just call this revenue, and revenue is supposed to be quantity times price. But in case you go for the measure, you will not be able to select columns. You are supposed to select another measures. So for example, if I would have a measure total quantity that summarize my quantity, I could select that measure and use it in this case. But there is a workaround. There is the calculate, which, as it says here, evaluates an expression in a context modified by filters. So I will get the total for the whole table, but whenever a filter is applied, the total will show me only the relevant information, only that piece that is filtered. And the same thing will happen for the visual. So I will use calculate, and let's go for summix. There is another way that you can that you can achieve this, and I think that it would be more efficient to use this summix function. So the first thing that I need to put here, if I use the summix, is the table that I'm taking the information from. I'm taking the information from the sales table, and my expression is quantity, which is a column of the sales table, times, and I'm supposed to select price here. But you will see that you cannot select price directly because it is not part of this table. So in order to select price, I need to use another function which is called related, and this related function will let me select any column from a related table. So it is not in my sales table, the one that I'm applying this summix function for, but I can select any other table. And in this case, I will select the price, and if you type the first letters of the name, you will see that you will get the column suggested by Power BI, and it is quantity times price. I will just close this parenthesis too. And now we have our revenue indicator. And I will just go ahead and instead of quantity, I will just select revenue. You will see that you will get a revenue per product, and you will also see that it is sorted alphabetically based on the product name. But I can also sort it based on revenue. So if I click on this ellipsis and click on sort by revenue, I will see the graph based from the per product, from the one that generated the most revenue to the one that generated the less revenue. And another important thing is that if I go to format on this graph, I can include data labels so that I can see exactly how much each bar is representing in this situation. So as I have said, DAX is working similar to the Excel, but you need to pay a lot of attention. You need to learn the particularities and the different functions that are used in Power BI. And once more, as I have said, if I want to filter and see just some of the information, I can easily filter it. The total will be modified based on the filters that I'm applying. There are several methods that are used for visualizing data in Power BI. Here you can see in this image, or in this GIF, because it is actually a GIF, a dynamic GIF, you can see a more complex report that is getting adapted in real time based on the filters that are applied by leveraging those slicers, and of course by leveraging the relational database model. Also, as I have said at the beginning, I have included that data intelligence table, which is allowing me to filter the information based on date on a certain quarter or month. In this case, I have selected only month, but you can do the same with quarter. You can add a slicer for quarter, you can add another slicer for a year, and so on, as long as you do have that table. And if you want to learn how to create and how to optimize such a table, you can access this blog article from Kpi Solutions. You have the URL in the presentation that will show you everything you have to do step by step in order to create this table and to make sure that it works efficiently. And you will also get the link here, a link that will download for you the table, a table that is already built in Excel that has all the days from 1900, sorry, all the way to 2100. So you can leverage this table. Another important aspect is the way you share information in Power BI. Now, in order to share information, of course, you do have the opportunity to send a report. As you have seen, I am using Power BI Desktop right now, so the result will be saved in a file. I can send that file via email to someone. That person might just want to see the result, or that person might, sorry, I had a technical issue. Let me just go back to Okay, so it looks like everything is fine. I had an issue with my microphone. I'm sorry for that. So one option is to send a report via email, but it's not necessarily the most efficient way of sharing the information. It is more efficient to publish the report online and to give access in a read-only mode to the people who are supposed just to see that information, not to manipulate it in any way, not to create additional reports, and so on. And publishing a report is actually very easy. If you go to the Home tab, you will see that you have this Publish button here. And when you click on this button, of course, it will prompt you to save the report first in case you haven't done so. And it will ask you to log in into your account. And I would like to mention that Power BI, it is offered for free. So if you want to create a free account, you can go ahead, you can create a new account. It is free. You can leverage all the data analysis and data visualization methods in Power BI free. There is also another paid version, but the paid version is bringing some additional features like, for example, collaborating online for developers, or having faster processing time and so on. But Power BI free will do just fine for most of the companies. So I have just clicked on publish, I have logged in, I have published the report online, and now I can go on app.powerbi.com, which is the website for Power BI. I will click on sign in. I will log in once more. And as soon as I log in, I will see that I have my workspace right here, and I will see that I have the reports. So those are all reports that I have created. It is very easy to access any report. This is our demo report, and if I click on this demo report, I can see the information here. Now, in order to share it with someone that I want to share it in a read-only mode, I can go to File, and I have this Publish to Web option. It will ask me to create an embed code, which I want to do. It will tell me what will happen exactly, the fact that I'm about to create a unique URL, and then I will get this URL here. And if I copy this URL and send it to someone else, it doesn't matter who they are. They do not have to be logged in. They don't have to be registered Power BI users. They can be anyone. They only need this particular URL, which I will access now in an incognito window so that I'm not logged in anymore. They will be able to see this report in the exact way that I am seeing it. And of course, they will be able to adapt the information in real time exactly as I would be able to adapt it. This is very useful, this is very important, and it gives you a quick way of sharing information with others. Another option is to include certain elements from a report in a dashboard. The advantage is that if you have multiple reports and you need small pieces, just some visuals from each report, to be included in a certain dashboard, you can do that. So a dashboard can contain information from multiple reports. In case you're using this URL-based report sharing, you will always get the whole report shared whenever you choose to share it. And also you can include this in a website. For example, if you have a website and you want to show some visuals on that website, and you're not ready or you're not willing to invest money for someone to develop those visuals for you, you can use Power BI. You can embed the content. You just have to copy and paste this URL on this piece of code on your website, and you will get something like this. I have one right here on this blog article. You can see this is a report created in Power BI, and this was embedded into this article. The code was copied and pasted here, and once more I get everything that I'm getting from using Power BI anywhere else. So another very useful feature of Power BI. One last thing that I want to show you really quick is the fact that you also get some additional formatting options, so that you can truly make the graph look good and feel good for the user. You also have the capability of choosing a different color for your data bars. You can also change the color for the data labels. You can change the way they are displayed. Right now it is on auto, which means that it shows me the data in a certain format, but maybe I want to see it in thousands. So I can see it with this K at the end. I can see how many thousands of US dollars were generated by each cell. And another thing that you can do, you can add an image to the plot area if you think it is necessary. You can add or remove the title. You can do a lot of things with. You can add a border if you want to add one for the visual. So you have a lot of formatting options. In some case, you can also use some advanced type of analytics, and you can leverage the information in your advantage. And also, as you have probably noticed here, although we are talking about revenue, we do not have the dollar sign in front of the indicators. So I will just select this revenue measure this time, and I will go to modeling. And as you can see here at format, I can once more go to currency and select the US dollar. And now I have the dollar symbol in front of that information, so that everyone knows what this represents. Of course, you can create, you can easily change the layout of a certain graph. I will show you how to change it to a pie, but because we have a lot of information in this case, I will just select a few products, and I will click on this graph, and I will change it into a pie. And once more, if I go to format, I have these data labels where I can select only the category, the value, the percentage of total, or everything. I have these all detail labels, which will show me the name, the value, and the percentage of the grand total. In this particular case, I can easily add or remove any information that I want to remove. As I've said, this is way too crowded for this type of visual. So, Power BI, an efficient business intelligence software, it is offered for free. It is developed by Microsoft. By integrating this type of activity in your organization, you can create complex data analysis models, and you can benefit from fact-based decisions. And also, it is very important that Power BI gets monthly updates. So it is always introducing new features that empowers companies to do a better job. That was my presentation for today. Now, if there are any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Adrian. And now, as Adrian has mentioned, if anyone has any curiosities of any sort, please feel free to address them now. All right, so we've received a question, but it's quite a long one, so we'll have to go through it step by step.
Okay.
So, someone asked, if he creates a report/dashboard and wants to share it with different regional sales managers, but he does not want them to see the data from other regions, only from their own regional product sales, would he have to create a filter by region and a report by region manager? Or how can he share the information and distribute it/update the report without having to create an individual one per region?
Yes, thank you. Very, very interesting question. Yes, there is actually a quite quick method of doing this. Indeed, it requires not necessarily creating different reports, but it requires saving the same report a couple of times, or 3 or 4 times, depending on how many regions we are talking about, and then publishing that individual report and giving a separate link for every employee. And I will show you that in a second. Let me just change this graph back. Okay, so let's leverage our current scenario, and let's imagine that we want to create a report for camping equipment that will only show the camping equipment, and another report for golf equipment that will only show golf equipment. And the layout of the report will be exactly the same. The information will have the same structure, and so on. A very interesting feature of Power BI is the fact that you have what are called general filters. You can see them here under the filter section. You have a visual level filters, which means that if I select this visual and I select a certain filter for this visual, it will adapt to show me only that information. You have page level filters, which will be applied to the whole page. You can create new pages exactly as you would create new sheets in Excel. Or you have what is called report level filters, and the report level filters are applied to the whole report. So let's imagine that we are in the situation that was described by the person who asked the question. And as I've said, let's leverage this data set, and
go for the product lines. So I will just select this product lines table. I will drag this product line into the report level filter. And here, as you can see, I can select only one or multiple values for the product line. Now this report is only showing me the camping equipment. It is impossible to select anything else. And if I will go again through the process, click on publish, generate the unique URL and give the URL to the person who is responsible of camping equipment, he will not be able to see these two panels. He will only get this, as you have probably seen. So you're not allowed to change any information. You have to see and to filter by using the slicers the information that is available. I would have to save this report as demo PBI, for example, 1, and then I will go ahead, select the second category and save this report as demo PBI 2. Because if you have the same name for the report, if you click publish, it will be replaced online. So I want to have two different reports with two different names. I save them, I publish them, I generate different unique URLs for each of the two cases or multiple cases. So my recommendation is to leverage the report level filters.
Thank you very much for your answer. Meanwhile, we've received quite a few questions. So, from your knowledge, does the list of connectors depend on the type of version, as in free versus paid? Are all sources available in the free version?
Yes. So all the sources are available in the free version, and also it is very important that all the data analysis, all that DAX collection of functions are available in the free version, and also all the type of visualizations are available on the free versions. If you will go to Power BI on the official website, and if you will go to the pricing, you will see that what does the Pro version mainly offer extra from the free version. And as I've said, you can collaborate online or share data, you can audit, you can distribute package content. So there are more advanced ways of distributing the content and so on. But the Power BI Free offers you the possibility to connect to any of the available data sources, as well as use all the analysis and visualization methods.
Thank you once again for your response. And now another question would be, can we choose which fields we load into the relationship table? In other words, can we voluntarily skip some of them?
Yes, of course you can do that, and it is even recommended, because if you do not skip the certain fields that you do not need, when you load the data or when you click on refresh in order to get the fresh data, the latest data from the sources, because the data might change in the sources in time. You know, if you have an ERP, for example, that works on SQL, you will get new records each day, and you will want to refresh the data in order to display the latest changes. And also, if you publish the report online, as I have done before, you can schedule auto refreshes so that the data will get refreshed without you clicking on this particular button. And yes, you do have the possibility to remove columns. Let me just show you what refresh means. Refresh means that Power BI is reading once more each of your table, and as you can see, it if the table is larger, it takes more time to load. If you go to edit queries, you have this option to edit queries, and you will see the whole queries here. And if I go, for example, to products, let me just see if I can. Yeah, I have a column on sales. I have this description column. It doesn't make sense. It might contain a lot of data, long descriptions, and so on. So it will take longer for Power BI to refresh the information, and I want to eliminate this column. You have up here the option choose columns, and if you click on choose columns after selecting this table in Query Editor, you can easily eliminate this description table. You click on OK and it is gone. You have this close and apply or just apply button, and when you click on close and apply, the query is modified so that Power BI will only read those columns and will not read the description column anymore. In case you do not do this, although you're not using that description column anywhere in this case, Power BI will still read it and you will still have it available here. As I said, it will take more time. But it is doable, it is easy, it is fast, you can just choose the relevant columns.
All right, and we have one more question, but I feel like you've already managed to answer this. I'll ask away though, just in case
Yes.
you want to further clarify it. Is there any paid licensing needed for viewers only? From what I saw, Power BI has a free version and a pro version, but is there
Yes.
any other sort of paid licensing?
That you need for
Because from what I understand, there isn't any. There's the free version and then there's the paid version, and that's it. And the free version generally has most of the options.
yes, there's also the pro version, which is a general version, and there is also this premium version, but this premium version was created for huge companies. And as you can see, they don't even have a price listed. So basically, if you are a huge company and you have hundreds of thousands of rows that are loaded and refreshed every time and so on, you might want to go for this type of pricing. But as I've said, it was created for very, very large companies that have a lot of information that gets analyzed all the time.
All right. Thank you very much for your answers. And this brings us to the end of our webinar. Adrian, do you have any last words for our listeners?
Yes, I would like to thank you very much for your attention and to wish you all the luck. And I hope that you will find this webinar interesting. I invite you to consult all those links that are here inside the presentation, because they will take you to some official, relevant, and comprehensive information that you might find very useful for leveraging such a solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again for your presentation. The Kpi Institute appreciates your interest in the webinar Business Intelligence Software and its Features, a hands-on demonstration. Follow our websites and our social media channels to find out more details about our next webinar, Appraising Appraisals, What Impacts Appraisal Success, which will be presented by Christopher Mills on the 13th of December. If you're interested in getting a certification granted by the Kpi Institute on vital areas within the performance management discipline, you can explore our scheduled courses on marketplace.kpiinstitute.org. Thank you once again for your participation and have a nice day.